Come on in, let's go. Crown steady, third eye blazing. Now memory in the mirror, self-lit in your spine. The ancestors, which ancestors are whispering, whispering. No flex, just recognition. Power seeks power and sits down. There's no competition here, only alignment. All of the mass will fall. Truth breathes, strength multiplies. Praise be. Ashe, Ashe, Aho. Come on. Strengthen your posture, your rising day. Well, Ashe. Peace and blessings. Aho, Ashe. This is Duchess, the Spiritual Doula, coming to you again with the second video, which will explain what the ancients learned and why schooling, why being taught, why, and how to ascend. Why is it important to go through the steps that you see many talk about? Why is it important to go through the steps so that you don't fall into the same lines that you see many of them doing now all across social media, touching things that are not meant for them to touch and crashing hard spiritually. So let me just lean to the side. I've been trying to figure out how to do these videos where my eyes and everything is looking, because I'm looking at so much when I'm doing it, comments, whatever have you. So I want to say this: Father, Mother, Holy Spirit, Christ, we thank you for allowing us to come in today to join as a family, to prepare, to learn, to enhance, and to excel spiritually and divinely. We ask that our ears and our eyes and our spirit and our hearts are open, and that we retain the knowledge and the wisdom that we need to do what we need to do, to unlock what needs to be unlocked, and to heal the areas that need to be healed within our lives. Ashe and Aho. Okay, so we're going to get into it on today. Okay, so I'm going to run down to you what the ancients taught. Okay, so come in a little closer and pull up in a chair. Okay, do not sit there stiff. Okay, because how you sit, okay, and breathe, and how you breathe, okay, matters. Okay, so let the room relax around you. And if you're here to be skeptical, that's okay as well. But let the room relax around you, because we are about to open up something very ancient together. And I don't think that there's anybody that teaches the way that I teach out here. I'm very real. I'm very down to earth with the way that I present spirituality. Okay. So again, welcome to the Aetherion Sanctuary, House of the Living Gate and the Living Star. Okay. And let me speak plain before we get into all the what my daughter says, speaking in cursive. You know, I'm not out here to speak in cursive and a bunch of big words and over-the-top language to sound intelligent, because for one, like I tell many people, I know what I got. So I'm just trying to be out here to help other people. So if I came out here to talk this or not, I mean, my wheel, my Macarba, my life is still spinning where it needs to spin. Okay. The purpose for all of this that I do is to help others and to engage with others who have been on the path or who are now joining the path to excel. So before language even starts rising out of my chest, okay, which maybe terms you don't understand, let's sit right here. Okay. All right. I want you to understand that this place here is not about a vibe. It is not about pretty aesthetics, spirituality with incense or smoke or crystals or selfies. This is not about performance. Okay. Or performance spirituality that you see nowadays, okay, where people learn a few words and dress up mystically and never touch the real fire of the divine. Okay, very serious about what I do and how I teach, and I'm very serious about those of you that I'm connected with, and those that are in just coming into the community of knowledge of God, of the divine, of spirit, of Christ consciousness, and that they are getting what they're supposed to get to meet the goals and the life that they should have, and how to walk and to excel through learning how to master themselves and their gifts. Okay. And let me say this, because Spirit has been showing this very heavy, and I know I've touched on it a lot. We are living in a time where people are starving for Spirit, but they are feeding on fragments, okay? Bits and pieces. They're grabbing like it's a candy store. I want this, I want that, okay? They're picking up pieces of traditions without understanding the law behind them, okay? Folks are mixing sacred things like they are mixing drinks at a party, okay? Whole mix allergists out here, honey. And if I cough a little bit, just say, you know, something nice to me, because I've been out here in this Georgia pollen, honey, and it is something fierce, okay? But people are out here invoking forces that they do not understand. They are opening doors that they do not know how to close, okay? Calling energies that they have no discipline to hold. They have no capacity to even hold the frequencies. Oh my God. And then they are wondering why confusion follows them like a shadow everywhere they go. Why they're crashing out, why they're still feeling the way that they're feeling, and life is not doing the things that it needs to be doing, or they're not manifesting what they're manifesting. Because baby, you don't put yourself in a whole different construct that you're not spiritually built for. Okay, yes, you may have a gift, and yes, you want to find your place and your space, and people are looking for that in life. But it is very important that you follow the principles. There's principles to everything, and like I said in the last video, if you want to make a cake, if you want to build a house, there are principles to follow, you know, so that it's properly built, and so that the cake tastes great, right? Okay. Can't make a strawberry cake and call it pineapple, honey, because ain't no pineapples. You ain't using pineapples. Okay. All right. So hear me clear, family. Sacred knowledge without foundation becomes chaos, spiritual chaos. Okay. And power without process becomes destruction. Okay. You're destroying yourself and the lives of other people because you aren't grounded. Okay. You're teaching out of your flesh without the teaching through the connectivity that we should have with spirit. Okay. And when people touch holy things without training, they end up bringing storms into their own lives, into the lives of people around them. This is why places like this must exist again. Okay. What I'm doing here, this is why us elders need to stand up, step up, and come out here and teach, not sit back and watch the catastrophe go on, but be out here and teach the truth. Okay, not to control people, not to look impressive, not for competition, but to restore order where spiritual confusion has been spreading like a wildfire. I mean, it saddens me. I mean, and I get on these social media streets. It's draining sometimes too. And I see people coming here with the card. And then they're saying nasty things to people. They're picking up the card and they're interpreting them wrong for the person's life. They're saying, oh, I get intuitive message from spirit, and they're just fishing for answers. If you really pay attention, you will see them people fish for answers. You will see that they'll speak to multiple people, and you'll hear the same kind of dialogue that they use with the last person. Just to fish for a yes or a no or whatever, so that they can kind of flow wherever they want. You know, you think they think you want them to flow, you know, and speak what you want them to speak into your life. And that is not how we do this. Okay. It's not a game. And it's not a guessing match, because when you are connected truly and divinely with spirit, you hear authentically. Okay. And your life lines up with it. Okay. So this right here, this house, is a forge. Okay. Okay. The Aetherion sanctuary house of the living gate and the living star. It is a forge. It is a living forge, a place where the soul meets and gets tempered. Okay, it's like building a sword, you know, and a blacksmith carefully. They can damage the metal if they don't carefully heat and hammer and put in the ice. That's why I tell people need to read books, because if you read books, I don't care if it's about pin needles, you will find an analogy about something that will help you in life. Okay, so this is a place where the soul gets tempered, just like a sword. Okay, in a blacksmith's fire. Okay, the ancients never passed secret knowledge around like party favors. No baby, because you may not be ready for the knowledge that I hold. I will help you get there. But baby, I'm not just handing out the answers to everything. There's levels to this. And even how I raise my kids in the spiritual, there's certain things that I didn't even allow them to watch. There's certain things that I didn't allow them to touch, because I knew that they were not ready. I knew who they are spiritually and in natural sense. But honey, no. Okay? They did not sprinkle wisdom. The ancients did not sprinkle wisdom on people like glitter at a festival. Okay? Just like you see nowadays, you know, all these people floating around and they're so spiritual and they got all kind of, I mean, I wear my diadems, but this is who I am. Regardless of if you see me here or if you see me at Walmart, you know, I don't got to get dressed up I wake up, I go to sleep with one on. Like, this is just who I am. You know what I mean? The ancients trained the vessel. Okay. And that's what's going to happen in here in the Aetherion sanctuary. Okay. They trained the vessel first, because they had to stabilize the body before opening perception. Okay. They demanded discipline before revelation. Okay. They taught law before power, and they tested integrity before you accessed anything. And that is still true today. Okay? You have to go through the proper channels of healing, of growth, of discipline, okay? Of laws for power, so that you can access. And you must walk in integrity, not ego. A lot of what I've seen today is ego. Okay? And I'm going to say this, okay? Because time demands honesty. Point blank, period. Okay? Right now, the world is flooded with spiritual language, but starving for spiritual maturity. Okay? People have learned vocabulary, but not transformation. Okay, they have learned symbols, but not alignment. They have learned aesthetics, but not responsibility. Okay, all right. Spirit is rising up. Okay, in laboratories like this again. This is a laboratory, a forge. Okay, and I'm so excited to be out here, to be able to be before you, and to be able to pour into and connect with others that will begin to pour into whoever comes across the Aetherion sanctuary. All right. Okay, because Spirit is raising us up and putting us out here. Even if these videos aren't seen for years, but people will come across these videos. Okay, all right, and find a place. Okay, because Spirit is raising us up. Okay, these places up. We're seekers, or slowed down long enough to build a foundation. It is important that you build on foundation. Okay, these laboratories will be places where sanctuaries, you'll be able to have sanctuary in these places where sacred things are handled with reverence. You are taught how to touch the divine objects and things and how to use them properly. Okay, these laboratories will be spaces where people stop playing with spirit, baby. No man, no Sam. Okay, and start walking in truth. Point blank, period. Okay, sometimes you may see me out here crack the whip because I am so serious about this thing. This has been my whole life. Everything that I have been through in life, me being connected divinely to God, to Spirit, to Mother Goddess, to the Holy Spirit, honey, to the angels, and having a minister, me being connected with my ancestors, wherever it may be, has kept me ever since I was a child, through the abuse that I had to endure, okay, through my teenage years, through my adulthood, even up until recently losing my child being murdered in transition. It has been these principles and this foundation and this wealth that I have in the spirit realm that kept me, okay, that kept my mind and my soul and my emotions and my heart, okay, and has sustained who I am. So, honey, okay, you can't play with spirit, okay. This is not no halfway street. This ain't, oh wow, that's a flashy tool, I want to use that. Okay, let's ask yes or no questions and see what happens. You know, should I eat spinach today? This is not a game. And when you touch these things, you open up. And I'm going to go into what Spirit gave me this morning when I was in the bathroom. That's one of my other sanctuaries. Okay, and honey, that's the best sanctuary in the world because that's where Spirit talks the most. When I'm in there, and I'm like, I'm in the bathroom. But anywho, I looked at the story in the Bible where the demons looked at the man of God and said, I know Paul, I know, but who are you? Okay, meaning I know John and Mike and Bill and Sue because they're a threat to my kingdom, to us. But you, who are you? We don't know you. You ain't no threat to us. You ain't got no power, no authority. Okay? All right? Jesus sent them out. Christ sent them out. Yeshua sent them out. So and they got their head stuck between their tails and went back like, oh my God, we got beat up out there. Yes, you did. You got beat up out on them streets because you didn't have what you needed. That you didn't have the foundation. You wasn't sure on the principles. Okay? You think it's a game still. It's just flashy tools. So you're going to get out here, some people going to get out here and touch these things, and honey, no, they have no victory in it. You don't see no victory in their life. There's always something. They're out here, now I'm homeless today, and now then they blaming it on spirit too. They're blaming everything on, well, I got to go through this. No, you're going through what you're going through because you think you're cunning, and you're out here manipulating folks, and you're playing with spirit. Okay, you got to walk in truth. Okay, and I don't care what space you go through in life. Okay, spoken in spirit and in truth. That is a principle that maintains. All right? Okay? All right? So this is the technology we are using here in this sanctuary, in this school, in this community. Okay? Okay? And I'm not going to say school. Okay? It's not a lecture hall. Okay? I'm not here just to lecture. Okay? And it's not one of them little new spiritual clubs, subscribe to me and da-da-da-da-da. We're not doing that. Okay? This is a laboratory. Okay, and like I said, Spirit is raising up laboratories where seekers are slowed down long enough to build foundation. Where places, okay, where they learn how to use sacred things, all right, and handle it with reverence, all right, how to reverence yourself, how to reverence divine, okay, where we stop playing and walk upright, boo, okay, all right, so that's why Spirit had me out in the streets, okay, this is prophetic alchemy, okay, we're a community of people willing to sit in the fire together, okay, until the illusion burns off. Okay, and what is real stands up inside of you. Okay, so that you can move in the correct frequency. All right, okay, that's where we're going today. That's why this school is here. Okay, and I'm going to go in retrospect. And you may have touched, you may, some things may be new to you. Some things may be like, I've been here before. I gotta go here. Well, honey, we're going from the bottom to the top. Okay, because I can't come out in these streets. I'm new to these streets. So let me come out here and give it the whole role. I'm not gonna come out here and just jump into candle making or candle dressing or how a fame, how to use a fame or this. No, we need to, before we talk mystical languages, spiritual language, heightened language, I need to bring you there.
Okay, so many people gravitating on, oh, how to do this. Just like the young lady online, and look it up. Okay, girl goes to a beauty salon with blood in her hair, animal blood in her hair. All right, she tells them to wash. I need you to wash my hair. Okay, the lady washes her hair, and the lady's daughter dies. Okay, this work is not a game at all. Now I'm a cosmetologist, and you come to my shop because I grew up voodoo. Okay, Gullah Geechee, indigenous. I grew up with these teachings, baby. Ain't no way you would say. My daughter showed me that video. She sent it to me. Sent it to me on what? IG praise? Yeah, IG. And immediately I said, she would have washed her own hair and been out of my shop while doing that. Excuse me. No ma'am, no Sam. Okay, that's some work. And I believe that young lady knew what she was doing and she targeted that lady. Okay, one, she either knew what she's doing and she targeted that lady. Okay, or it was one of these, what I'm talking about now, people touching things and doing things that they have thinking it's a game. It was a ritual that was done and they knew nothing about what it was and what it meant and thought it was a game. Okay, so in this house we regulate the nervous system, baby. Okay, before anything. Okay, before anybody start talking about visions, before we master anything mystical. Okay, we're going to master our breath before we speak. Okay, we are going to strengthen the spine before we try mapping the stars. Okay, we train attention in this space like a muscle, and we stabilize emotion like a foundation, and we refine speech because words carry voltage. They carry power. Okay, and people out here throwing language around like it weighs nothing. That is the mistake. It's the biggest mistake. And hear this clearly because this matters. Okay, many people today are spiritually curious but energetically untrained. Okay, so let me go back into what we're going to do. We're going to regulate the nervous system. Okay, before anybody starts talking about visions. I mean, you may bring up something like, I had a dream, I had this and the other, and we'll help you through that. But we're not going to just jump into doing all this magical, mystical work. No, I need to know that your nervous system is stabilized. Okay, we're going to master your breath before you speak power. We're going to strengthen your spine before we try mapping the stars. Okay, all right. Like I said, we're going to train you and we're going to stabilize you. Okay, all right, so that you are not out here energetically untrained. Okay, all right. So many people are out here just untrained, uncouth. They open themselves to influence without learning how to anchor. You have to learn how to anchor your spirit first. You got to do that. It's very important. And this is what the ancients taught. Okay, and that's why I'm going to be out here doing that with you guys. Okay, and whoever else wants to join in. All right, okay. Because people out here are chasing these mystical experiences without building the vessel that can hold those experiences safely. It's not safe for you to be out here just it's a wildflower. Okay, and that's how people end up spiritually scattered instead of spiritually grounded. And that's what we see today. A lot of us elders, a lot of the elders that I'm talking to and connected to, we see it out here. And y'all come to us and we're just like, oh, you let too many people play in your energy field. Oh, you think it's a game, you're not ready. You got to have wisdom because you can't, people out here flipping cards and you can't flip a card for everybody. You got to test that person. You got to know if that person's really ready to hold things. You understand what I'm saying? This is so much to this. Okay, so this sanctuary exists as a correction and restoration. Okay, it is a place, yes honey, a place where the sacred is handled with order. Okay, we are reordering this structure. Okay, here we are going to study energetic law the same way the physicists study gravity. Okay, cause and effect, alignment and consequence, truth and distortion. Okay, you're going to know the difference. You will learn embodiment, how to embody it before mysticism. You will learn inner hearing before prophecy. Okay, all right. Okay, we're going to go through this. We're going to go through a sure foundation. Okay, you will learn silence. How to sit still in silent discipline before revelation. You will learn dream literacy before interpretation. You will study the tree of life. Okay, not as a theory on paper, but as a living ladder through your own spine and vertebrae. Okay, we're going to learn about the 33 vertebrae, each gate. Okay, breath by breath. Okay, planetary forces. Okay, we're going to learn all of that. Okay, here. So this is what the ancients taught. This is what I'm bringing out to you guys. Okay, so for some it may seem slow. Okay, all right, but for a lot of you guys it is very necessary. And I don't care where you are at on your spiritual journey. These principles that I am out here to teach you through spirit, these things I still fall back on to keep myself in line. The principles, the rules, they matter. Okay, planetary forces will stop looking like superstition to you and start looking like psychological weather systems moving through the human mind. Okay, there are no shortcuts here. There's no performance here, no titles, no guru worship, no fantasy theatrics, only discipline and integrity. Okay, responsibility, transformation through repetition. Okay, this house is for the ones ready to tell the truth to themselves, even when the truth seems uncomfortable. This house is for the ones who are tired of chaos and want clarity. This house, the Aetherion sanctuary, is for the ones who understand deep in their bones that power without discipline destroys everything it touches. So you see that you've been on this spiritual journey and you've been doing things, and you're at a point now that you got to keep doing it because you got all these videos out here and people liking them, but you know within yourself that, man, this is whirlwind. If they only knew the whirlwind is gone, and when do I get a break for a break? I need to restructure myself. It's okay to restructure yourself. I don't post every day. Okay, I don't know how y'all do it. Okay, all right, I don't know how you do it. Okay, this school is also teach you how to hear the prophetic warnings inside of when somebody's speaking or when you're seeing, out here. Okay, a lot of people right now are playing with energies that they do not respect. They are summoning confusion into their lives because nobody ever taught them that the spirit world responds to law, not curiosity. Okay, so if you come looking for spectacle, you stepped into the wrong building. Okay, because I'm here for the real. I'm the real deal, and I'm here to do what's real. Okay, and if you come ready to meet yourself without running from yourself, okay, then you just open the door and you come right in. Walk slow, take the seats, be honest, be open. Okay, stay only if you are ready to be transformed. Okay, now let me talk about what we're actually building here, because what we are doing did not start with us and it will not end with us. The ancient mystery traditions of the world were never simply religious systems, if you understand what I'm saying. They were not churches. They were not classrooms in an ordinary sense. They were laboratories of consciousness. Okay, places where the human mind and spirit were studied and tested and refined and expanded. Those places existed to manufacture seers, oracles, those that are actually gifted spiritually. Okay, engineers of reality, law keepers of spirit. Okay, and hear this because it echoes directly in our time. I can hear this so clear. The world is not lacking information right now. The world is lacking disciplined humans, okay, who know how to hold truth without distortion. This is why training matters. Okay, in those houses, you did not come to collect. Okay, in the ancient houses, you did not come to collect information. You came to dismantle and rebuild. Okay, you came to die symbolically and come back seeing. They came to restore those factories, and those ancients went through these laboratories. Let me say laboratories so that they can hone their gift properly. Okay, all right. The purpose of these laboratories, okay, was simple. Okay, they train human beings to hear divine intelligence without distortion and to move between worlds. Okay, without losing your sanity, without falling off the hinge. Okay, without overanalyzing everything. Okay, or when spirit blesses with you something and you just thinking you can just float free, being able to ground and stay structured. Oh my God, I see so many now that once they get one little revelation tip, they just run off the handle, or they finally get blessed with something, and honey, you see them crash and burn it themselves. Not spirit gave it to them, but they messed it up their own self because they didn't know how to hold it. Okay, all right. Listen, the prophets that came out of those schools, the seers, the oracles, the shamans, okay? And they were not fortune tellers. They were instruments. You have to learn how to be instruments, okay? Calibrated instruments, living antennas, okay? That's what they were. They received law from the invisible world and translated it into structure, into medicine, into governance, into healing, into timing, okay? All right? And if they could not regulate their nervous system, they were considered very dangerous, unhinged. And I know you see a lot of movies like that too. They will kick you out. You understand what I'm saying? Or tell you you're not ready, but some people just use their skills and go rogue, right? Okay, so some people are out here rogue because they wasn't staying to discipline to be able to be disciplined where spirit needed them to be, and they didn't want to. So now they're dangerous. They're out here just hurting people, harming people. Okay, this is why training went so deep in those schools, and this is why in these laboratories, because this is why you hear people talk about prophetic school, mystical school, magical school, just in the third. And you hear people say, come out here like I am, I have, opportunity for you too. And this is why because it's very important that you go through the proper growth. Okay. All right. All right. Is there any questions? Okay. I hope that lands. Okay. Because it speaks directly to our moment. Okay. I really do. A spiritual, unregulated person who gains influence can cause enormous damage. Okay, vision without grounding leads into illusion, delusion, Okay? Charisma without wisdom misleads the whole community. Okay? It is. It's very important. This is why the old laboratories and schools trained people slowly. You didn't hop in and hop out on it like they do, like popcorn. Okay, they started with purification, and I'm just going to go through what they taught, and this is what we're going to teach here. Okay, so we're going to start with purification, how to sit within yourself, how to sit within your atmosphere. Okay, how to hear, how to release what does not serve you, how to listen to you, what your body's aches and moans are. Okay, body first. Okay, fasting, water rituals, okay, breath discipline, plant intelligence, okay, sexual containment, okay, silence, okay, even back then the food, how what you ate mattered, okay, sound, frequencies, okay, your sleep cycles were coded, okay, all right, walking power patterns were coded for you. Okay, so you didn't jump into these ancient schools. It's like you're not gonna jump in here. Okay, and flim flam. You come in this space. You come to actually engage. You come to actually learn, and you are serious about it. Okay, because one thing like I said in the last video, if I see that you're not serious, honey, I will ask you to, hey, if you're not serious about this, then go find somebody that likes to play games, because we don't play games here. Okay, we are trying to live the life that we're supposed to live. We're trying to help the world, save the world, whatever, heal people, help people truly. Okay, not distortion, not in distortion. Okay, this is not a game. Okay, all right. So the ancients taught that the human body was understood as a living temple in a grid, not just a metaphor. Okay, we're going to learn how to flow within the spheres and the paths of life through our body. Okay, all right. Here, they taught reality is layered. Okay, what I see is only one layer. Okay, matter itself is frozen. Spirit, okay, time is not a straight line. Death is not an ending, it's a doorway. Consciousness shapes, forms, sound, builds, worlds and numbers carry intelligence. They learned those things. You understand what I'm saying? Sound was central to everything. Chanting, to recognize matter, drums, stabilizing your emotional body, okay, strings, to heal your grief, trumpets, tones, activated authority, okay, silent was taught as the highest octave, as the highest frequency, okay, to attune yourself, okay, and if a student could not hold silence, they were not ready for anything else. Okay, so that's where I'm the same way. I'm the same way with my children. I'm the same way with people I counsel. We will stay there until you master. You won't move anywhere else, because it is very important that you move healthy in your whole. Okay, in these ancient schools, numbers were treated like living law. One represented source, 2 polarity, 3 creation, 4 foundation, 7 mastery, and so forth and so on. 72 currents of divine forces moving through existence. Okay, language itself. So we're gonna go through the number system and all of that. Language itself was an initiation. Ancient Hebrew, Egyptians, Sanskrits were studied not just as grammar but as frequencies. Okay, names were permissions. Okay, everything mattered. Okay, so I want to show you this thing because a lot of people get on here and they want to change their name and they want to do all this stuff mattered, and there was a reason to all of it. Okay, to speak a name was to activate a function of who you are. So a lot of people calling themselves things that they have nothing, they don't really understand. They read it, they read the definition of it and say, oh, I like that, but didn't know the weight that it carried. Okay, all right. So we guard, and this is why I tell people like how I name my children. I name my children specifically through prayer. How Spirit would want me to name my children. My daughter prays. I had her name. She was born 2011. I was pregnant with my son. Zainier means excellent gift, and I got her name. God said, you're going to have a baby name, and you name it Praise. And that was in 2008. So when I got pregnant with her, I already knew what her name was and that she was a girl. I did ask my kids what they wanted, whatever. But all their names have meaning, okay? And those names were guarded. And it's just so much to that. So we're going to learn all about that in the school, okay? And today, people, it's just so important because people throw these names around casually, okay? They repeat sounds with no preparation of heart and mind, okay? But the ancients understood the sacred language moves power. And without grounding that power, okay, this stabilizes the vessel. So it's very important what we do. We're going to learn all of that here, okay, into this school. So now let me bring some of the great carriers of wisdom into the room with us now, so that you understand the river of lineages we are standing in. And many of these names you might have heard. Thoth, known as in ancient Kemet as Tahiti or Djiti, okay, was a divine scribe of the gods, sacred intelligence, associated with writing language and mathematics and cosmic order. He represented the principle that because that thought becomes law, okay, and that knowledge must be recorded and measured so civilizations can remain aligned with truth, okay. The Greeks later called the same current, okay, notice I said the same current, okay, you got Toph, okay, Hermes, okay, all right, thrice the great, a mystical, a philosopher, sage, okay, whose teaching formed the foundation of Hermetic wisdom, the emerald teachings that declared as above, so below, as within, so without. Okay, you have Moses, the prophet of the Hebrew people. He was raised and educated inside the Egyptian priesthood before he ever stood on Mount Sinai. Okay, that means he was trained in the law of sacred geometry, leadership, and spiritual governance long before the story most people know about him even began. You have Yeshua. Okay, these are the same current. Okay, also known in the name Yeshua, Yahoshua, okay, Isis, Isa, okay, was a Jewish mystic, teacher whose life carried deep influence, essential spiritual communities. He walked a path of radical compassionate healing, prophetic speech. Y'all know the rest, okay? Pythagoras was a Greek philosopher and mystic who traveled through Egypt and Babylon to study sacred mathematics. Okay, taught agriculture, art. He was an architect of the universe and harmony. Okay, learned teaching you how to govern your the cosmos and your human soul. Then we have Plato, a great philosopher. Okay, all these people went through these schools. Isis, known in Kemet as Osset, she was a goddess of wisdom. Okay, all right. She said to possess the power of how to resurrect life through divine intelligence and devotion. Ophrayus, okay, mystic poet. Enoch, okay, which is an ancient figure in Hebrew text who didn't see death. He was so highly in tune, okay, and deeply walking with God that he crossed dimensions without even experience ordinary death in traditional way that we know it, okay. Siddhartha Gautama, later known as Buddha, okay, and I may not be saying these words right, these names right, but this is how I say them, honey, because that's how I talk. I don't know, whatever. But if anybody wants to correct and get on camera, you can do that. Was a prince who renounced wealth and comfort to pursue a spiritual life. Okay, when you have King Solomon, a wise ruler, all of these streams flow back through ancient civilizations known as Kemet. Okay, the land now called Egypt. Okay, Kemet means black land, referring not only to the fertile soil of the Nile, but also the cosmic womb of creation. Okay, the dark, fertile void where life emerges from mystery. Okay, the spiritual system of Kemet was not religion in the modern sense. It was an ancient alignment. The people lived according to Ma'at, okay, the principle of divine balance, justice, and right order. Ma'at was both the goddess and a cosmic law that the idea of harmony, okay, and maintained, that must be maintained in the physical world, okay, so the spiritual world and the moral choices of humanity could flow, okay. The divine forces were also expressed through the Neteru, okay, sacred intelligence that represented aspects of nature, consciousness, and cosmic functioning. Asar, Set, Heru, Tahuti, okay, Sekhmet, who presents as the powerful goddess, both destructive and healing and fire. I mean, you're going to learn all about all of these things, okay? But before we start anywhere, I said we're going to start at the beginning, okay? Okay, and right now I'm just trying to get you to understand what the ancients taught and how they flowed, okay? A lot of people are in the Kemetic spirituality as well, and that's when you go back, the furthest back you will know where a lot of these mystical schools inherited their knowledge, okay? And one of them, the temples of Kemet were built as mirrors of the human stone. And let me see. Okay. I had to check something. I'm so sorry. Did you hear my phone? Okay. The temples of Kemet were built as mirrors of the human body. Okay. Stone reflections of spiritual autonomy. Okay. Initiation meant purifying the body, disciplining the mind, mastering emotions, and awakening the Ka and the Ba. So you're going to learn all that. Astronomy, geometry, sound, and numbers were tools of spiritual science, and the pyramids themselves were aligned with stars, such as Orion, Sirius. Okay, reflecting the ancient beliefs of the soul. Later, the powerful center of knowledge rose in West Africa. Okay, all right. So we have the Sankor in Timbuktu. Okay, Sankor wasn't just a single building, but a living stream of knowledge. Okay, and like I said, we're going to learn how to breathe and how to move through what the ancients taught. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are ready to do that. but that's where we're going to go. Okay, this is how we're going to start the Aetherion school, because it's important that we start with a foundation at the foundation and move through. Okay, so we're going to learn how to study the laws of science, mathematics, philosophy, and literature, knowledge, and through mentorship and memorization. Okay, we're going to learn all of that as well. Okay, and it takes you to become who you need to become today, so that you're not flighty, so people are not flighty and are not, or maybe you've been on your journey for a while and you just want to hear something new so you can help your own community. Come on. Okay, we're going to flow within the living ecosystem of wisdom. Okay, and it is the spirit we are carrying forward here, the Aetherion sanctuary house of the living star gate in the living star. Okay, it is not trying to imitate any angel. I'm not trying to imitate anybody's systems. Okay, all right, we are just here to continue to work, and part of the work is correcting the spiritual confusion of our time today. Okay, all right, helping people move from curiosity into responsibility, from scattered concepts, okay, to understanding. Okay, bridging traditions together. All right, understanding that we're all a whole. Okay, so no matter what walk of life you're from, okay, we're here together. So we're going to be bridging these traditions together, and so that you can understand how they all flow together and how to pull from what you need. Okay, from Kemet, Ifa, Hebrew mysticism, Eastern contemplative science, Greek philosophical memory, African intelligence, divine rivers flowing through the same. These are all divine rivers flowing through the same ocean of understanding. Okay, this sanctuary, this laboratory exists to train together. Okay, all right, body first, breath first, truth first. Okay, and every initiate will be initiated the same way. We will walk through this together. If you join this this Aetherion sanctuary, you will be told to go back and do the other videos. Okay, you'll be able to walk with me and talk with me, so I can see also where you're at. We will interact together live, where you can come up and speak and talk and express as well. Okay, all right, so we can prepare, prep our vessels. There's no expectations because it's up to you. Okay, there will be 12 weeks of grounding practices alone. Okay, I will be giving out water rituals for you to do every morning. Then this is something that you need to be disciplined. Breath, through your silence, through your dream and your journaling. Do you go outside in nature? Have you walked outside today? Regulating your nervous system. I also do not encourage no chasing visions, no psychic theatrics. Okay, here, we're not doing that. Okay, just grounding. Okay, because many people believe that they are spiritually advanced until they attempt to sit quietly with themselves for 10 minutes, honey. Okay, without distraction, and they realize, whoa, I can't even do that, So it's a lot, and I know I've said a lot in this video. Okay, but this is where real work begins. Okay, after the body stabilizes, the next gate opens. Okay, and then we go through ethical law, learning words that carry weight, perception training, sound and dream recall. Oh my God, so much more. All right, chakra functionals, the gates of them, planetary forces, numerology, sacred speech, how to speak without leaking your own energy, shadow work, alchemy, service, transformation. Is so much more. Okay, all right. The world right now is not just going through political change or culture change. It is going through a spiritual reorganization. Okay, old illusions are breaking down. All right, hidden things are surfacing, and people everywhere are feeling the call to search deeper, but some people just do not know where to go. Okay, but they are searching without structure leads. Okay, right, and that leads people into confusion and more confusion. This is why houses like this exist. Okay, the Aetherion sanctuary. And I know I've said a lot. I even have outwinded myself a little bit talking, because there's a lot going on even in my own home as I am doing this video. Okay, and there's a lot of things that's going on in my mind and my spirit as I'm talking to you, but I'll get into my prayer after we're done here, and then unfold, come back probably with a video to unfold what Spirit is saying. But it's really heavy, and I can feel it even within myself. So you've probably seen a little shift throughout this video. Okay, all right, so that's why. Okay, but places, this is a place where seekers learn not just to believe, but how to become. Okay, it's very important to me. Okay, all right, and then eventually some of you will teach, some will heal, protect, organize, and we come together with all your gifts and manifestations and create a phenomenon throughout the world. Okay, all right, this is very important. Okay, all right, this is the mission of the Aetherion sanctuary. Okay, house of the living gate, the living star, community of discipline seekers, training together, like the ancient laboratories did, not to escape the world, but to stabilize it. Okay? And in the next gathering, I will open up another gate. Okay? Because if you are here, something inside you already knows the work has begun. All right? All right? So I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this sphere and where we're at and how we're flowing as far as together. So, like I said, we're going to open this up just like the ancients did. We're going to take it slow. We are going to be here together and move together in sync. All right, so I have so much that I want to pour out into you guys, but you can go back into the older videos and the shorts, YouTube shorts that I've done, and get a feel for some things that are going to be taught. But it's not going to be as maybe exciting for some people to start with, but I do have a lot of resources, and I'm going to come out here and just put these videos up, and so that you can watch them as many times you need, the different practices, the meditations, the mantras, the lessons, whatever you need to access who you are, and it will be in categories as well, so that you can follow along. Okay? Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for coming in and breathing with me today. Thank you for following today. All right? Grace and peace. Ashe. Aho.
Come on in, let's go. Crown steady. Third eye blazing. Now memory in your mirror. Self-belief in your spine. The ancestors. Which ancestors are whispering? Whispering. Words. No flex, just recognition. Power seeks power and sits down. There's no competition here, only alignment. All of the mass will fall. Truth breathes, strength multiplies. Praise be. Ashe, Ashe, Aho. Come on. Strengthen your posture, your rising day. Well, Ashe.